Welcome, welcome. I think we're fairly quiet at the moment, so I won't waffle on about too much. I don't think there's currently anybody in the YouTube apart from you, John. We'll be getting started just a second. Still need to get a new arm for this mic because it starts sinking after every 10 minutes now. I have to keep lifting it up. And the springs are just worn on it. Sing you a song. I think YouTube's got quite a bit of a delay on it. It's still showing 1 minute starting soon on YouTube, which is a little bizarre. Let's just get everything set up then, and we'll start. Yeah, I could do with a longer one because I mean this is at full reach, and the issue that I have with it is it's off to the side rather than in front of my face because obviously my desk is quite long. Just bear in mind you are chatting in the stream chat as well. But yeah, cheers for that. Yeah, I was just thinking if you're sharing anything about orders and stuff. So yeah, what we're doing today, let's have a look. I mean, I'm not gonna. I was the plan was today was to do a quick bit of a demo of what you may have missed out on last week, but there's no. I don't think there's any point in me doing that at the moment while no one's here. So I will just kind of continue, I think, with the build. I think that's probably the easiest way to go about this. Shall I share where you are going on holiday? It's nice. I'm really looking forward to it actually. Yeah, I mean I've only been abroad once, and that was last year, so it should be a nice getaway. I'm also looking forward to October as well. Going to Amsterdam, something a bit different. Okay, so yes, let's share my screen, and I'm actually not sure what to do next. Yeah, the idea was to do a bit of a demo of the app, where we're currently at with it, and then hopefully that was going to trigger the next protocol for what I was going to add or build. But yeah, there's a few things that I want to test before I actually start getting into the user progress stuff, I think. And that is the course creation. I might actually I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up my Dataverse list. I keep calling them lists. Are they lists? They're technically lists, right? They're tables of data. It's a list of things. I'm going to clear out my lessons and my courses that are currently in here. The reason being, I don't know if there's a way, can you select all rows at once? No, so yeah, the reason being is because I want to test out my new forms, which I've not actually done yet. And plus the content that was already in here was a bit pointless anyway. They were just really just sample data just to see how it got carried across. So we have a blank list in our lessons, which is what we want. Let's have a look at our course. And we'll clear out our course as well. Can we do that from... We can't do that from within here. Oh, let's not do that. Let's do edit. Again, I'm just going to clear out some of this content. I mean, I could make a Power Automate flow, which would just move my SharePoint list into Dataverse, which I've never done before. That could be something that I could try. I'm not too fussed about it. I mean, I'm happy just to sit and import some data manually. Let's have a look what we've got to use as progress. Hi, Renerio, welcome. What are we doing? So let's have a look where we've got course categories. Let's remove these categories too. Because I was a bit confused when I was setting up this list. So this is my list of categories. And there was I think if I go to edit column, I don't know if you'll know the answer to this, John. There's some stuff in the advanced options of this column, and it is, or it was, maybe I'm dreaming of things. It was something along the lines of basically avoiding duplication in Dataverse, and I can't remember where that setting is. It might be the table properties. Yeah, so we've got the full list table under this actual table properties. We've got apply duplicate detection rules. When I hovered over this, it says whenever rows are created or updated for this table, run any applicable duplicate detection rules. And this won't run if duplicate detection is turned off in this environment. So one, I need to check if it's turned off in the environment because I don't want the same category being added like multiple times. Otherwise it makes obviously the query, well, the performance of the query when you're actually querying against it will take longer. And two, it just gets messy. But this is applied, but it still allowed me to add multiple category 6s. So, first of all, let's go and have a look at my Power Apps environment. Where are we going to get this? We're going to go to Office. And we'll open up our admin and we'll just see if it's enabled inside of our Power Platform admin center, wherever that is, which for some reason, again, am I in the right place? Power Platform admin center isn't here, but you added me to this yesterday, John, so where's that? Let's go have a look at the chat with John and see if I can just grab that link and see if it works. But for some reason it's not showing up in here, which is a bit strange. Head to all admin areas, all admin centers. See, that's what I just did. Under there, where do you open it? Power Apps. Head to all admin centers, which is where I'm at. So yeah, it usually appears on the admin centers here. You get like Power Platform, admin center, Teams admin center, and all that. But it's strange because I'm still able to access it through the link that you sent me, which is a bit weird. But anyway, whilst you're having a look at that, I'm gonna see if there is a setting. Now I have no idea where this is going to be saved. So this may take a while. But what are we looking for? We're looking for duplicate detection in your environment settings. So let's have a look at my environment settings. And I'm assuming this would come under, let's have a look. Data management, maybe? Yes, duplicate detection settings. Now, which one did it want me to look at? Okay, so it doesn't specifically say. Let's have a look, duplicate detection settings. taking me over to Dynamics. While we're here, we'll open up the jobs and the rules as well. Let's explore this a little bit. Because again, we're not going to want same course names, same lessons and all that. So we need to apply this to multiple places. And again, we don't want the same users. If something goes wrong with our formula, which hopefully it won't, where we're creating users in that table, we don't want the same user to be used multiple times. So a duplicate section is enabled for this environment. When a record is created or updated, so it doesn't look like there's anything in there that needs changing. Okay, so it's doing stuff. So it's using accounts with the same name. So I wonder if I have to set up a individual rule for the table. I don't know if that's how this works. So let's have a look at creating a new rule and just see what happens. So base record type. Okay, our LMS in here. So let's go to LMS course categories. This is the main one. So the matching record type doesn't need to be case sensitive. So if I say categories with the same category name, just following along with the sort of rule set that we've got here, and I'm just trying to see match code length. Okay, so it's going to be the actual category. So same first character. So an exact match is what we want. Do we want to ignore blank values? Again, that's another question. So do we need to enable case sensitivity? So I think when we want it to, if somebody uses a capital P or a lowercase p for parrots, for example, we don't want it to, we still want it to detect it as a duplicate. So I think that we just leave that off. I'm trying to figure that out. I think we just leave that off, and I think we can just ignore blank values. Is there any other categories here that we need to, or any other of the fields? I don't think there is another field that we need to change. So I will just leave that as is, and administration. Okay, this is literally just taking me down the page. So I don't think I need to worry about anything else. So let me just go ahead and save and close that. And we can actually go ahead and test this now to see if this allows us to do duplicates. So I'm just going to go ahead again, just whilst we're on where we were at the beginning. I'm just going to go and delete these records. Hi Linda, welcome to the stream. I'm just kind of having a bit of a dabble in Dataverse at the moment, trying to wrap my head around a few things. So I'm going to try and add multiple categories, and this was under the create course. So let's go ahead and just test this, and I'm going to see if this works now. So if I just go ahead and add, I'm just going to call this first one Connor just to see. Go ahead and add a new category. We'll give this a refresh on here. So you can see that we've got a new category. Let's go ahead and add another Connor and see if this. So we've got 2 in the list apparently, so. Did I save the actual? Oh, maybe I need to publish these. I need to publish this first. I thought I saw something that was publishing rule. So that's publishing. I'm just going to head and delete these 2 records again. We'll give it another try. I'm just going to refresh my data. I don't think I need to do this, but I feel like I haven't done it in a while, which means things could be out of date. Hopefully this doesn't take too long to publish. So that's just publishing. So give that a refresh, see if it's done anything. Okay, so it has published now. So let's go ahead and test that once again. So we'll go ahead and we'll do Cloud 365, add new category, give this a refresh, and you can see that that's gone in there. We now do Cloud 365 again. So it's still allowing us to place duplicates in here. Let's have a look at let's see what we can find online. Let's have a look at ChatGPT. ChatGPT could be useful. So Microsoft Dataverse, records and merge. So duplicate records can creep into your data when you or others enter data manually or import data in bulk. So Dataverse helps you address potential duplicates. Okay, after you know there are duplicate records, you can merge. So you can merge the duplicate and retain the record you want. When you merge a record, any related or child records are also merged. Okay, so how do we resolve them? When duplicates are found while you create or update records, you can either ignore the duplicate detection dialog box, okay, and save the record, or you can merge the duplicate records to keep your data clean. So let's just go ahead and open this one. Duplicate detection rules. Let's have a look. What have we got here? So, yep, we managed to get here. If you're creating a new rule in the duplicate detection rule criteria section, set the type of record that the rule applies to. In the matching record, select the type of record to compare. In most cases, you'll probably want to use the same record type. Right, okay. So I think I did that. I'm not sure what the difference between a job and a role is. That's see what happens with a new detection job. Okay, so this is coming from the rules. Okay, so this is like, I think if you want to be more specific. Okay, I don't think we need that. So I'm just still trying to figure out why detection rules isn't working. So I think the job is a thing you schedule using the rules. you can run a rule whenever. Yeah, that sounds right. Maybe there's something I missed in here. So maybe there's something that's not an exact match. How do I change this? For some reason I can't edit this, which is strange. Can you not re-edit things? Let's go back and we'll select this. So yeah, I think I have to just create a new one because I don't think I can edit. Okay, that's maybe I have to unpublish it before I can edit it. Okay, so I can edit the actual criteria now. So we'll say that I can't understand why this exclude inactive matching records. What would an inactive matching record be? I'm interested in what this working on solution is as well. Why do you need to attach a file? So this all this interface is a little bit beyond me at the moment. Okay, so to make the new or change duplicate detection rule usable, select rule, select publish. When you publish duplicate detection rule, a match code is created for every record in the matching record type for that rule. You can publish only 5 rules for the same base record type. Okay, at a time. You might need to delete or unpublish an existing rule if you bump up against this limit. So how do I even look at these detection rules? Let me come back to here. So I want to know where this is found. But so let me go to. I'm gonna go back to the actual main list, the main table itself, without editing, because I have a feeling there's probably something in here that I possibly need. Commands. What's this? Okay, I think that's part of the form. Data experiences. Yeah, I really need to have a play with a lot of this stuff. Table properties, tools. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to ignore it for now, and come back to this because I feel like I'm going to end up wasting so much time figuring this out. As again, the main purpose that I'm trying to achieve here is I want to get the app working. I want it in a usable state by the end of tomorrow's live stream. So yeah, I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of go back to where I was with this whole setup, and then start fleshing out just some content that I can put in here, just so I can start working with my new controls on these new screens that I've done. So let's have a look, and I just want to make sure the flow of adding a course works as expected as well. So first of all, let's have a look at how we're going to get to this screen, because I feel like some of our navigation here is a bit messed up. Those that were with me last Friday will know how this should have looked. As I've moved this to Dataverse, we've got a few things we need to, we still need to kind of get around to fixing. So obviously we've got this button here, which was basically just to take me to the creating a new course screen, which, oh, let's not do that. Pressing back as though I can go back to this page. So I'm going to just leave that for now on here. That's going to be fine, because eventually what I want to do is add an icon that is only visible to a certain user group, if that makes sense. So only certain people can actually create courses and content, and then for others it'll just be a read-only format. So I'll work out how to do that afterwards. It'll probably be via some form of table. Essentially the user will come to the add new course screen. And then from here, what we're going to do is we're just going to add some sample stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and grab, let's go find our images that we used last week. We'll start with the step up challenge. So Power Apps step up challenge. We're going to grab that as an image. I'm just trying to think about the experience here. So I know that because these images are going to be the main place where, or the main clickable event, if you like, from the home screen, they all relatively need to be a similar size. So I think before I continue with this one, I'm going to see if I can just add some recommended text underneath this cover image section, because I would like that to be quite important to the user, because I feel like if they start adding images that are too wide, too tall, then when they become visible in this screen here, obviously they're not here at the moment, but they're like little square images, and that will really affect how they're viewed in terms of the actual user experience that they have. So yeah, I think I'm just going to make that just clear to the end users. We could do this with, I believe, another text label. I wonder if there's anything we can put in here. So instead of tap to add picture, change picture text. So if I test. Okay, so that's just what overlays, I think, once you've got an image in here. Let's see if there's anything to change. Okay, text tap or click to add a picture. And we're just going to say recommended size 800 pixels by 800 pixels. I think we don't need to mention size. I think that's pretty clear. And yeah, that should be okay. So yeah, let's go ahead and add our image. Let's go ahead and go our Power Up step up challenge. We're going to call this Power Apps step up challenge. We don't need to worry about descriptions. I'll just type something random in here for now. This is a step up challenge description. Difficulty, we'll say this is a 2. Length. I'd like to be able to auto-calculate the length, and I think that's something that we can now do in Dataverse, because we have this concept of duration as a number, which I've noticed. So I think we could possibly do some calculation to actually give us that. Again, something we can look at. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to open up Notepad and just write down some notes of things that we can potentially go and look at some point. So we'll go for auto. I'm just writing this on another screen. Calculate course duration, and then that way we can base it off either the time of the stream link that you're using for videos, or for the time that your LMS admin specifies each lesson to be. And then we'd have to go and kind of do all the calculations ourselves and update that, but we'll look at that at a later date. So what else? So we'll just say that's 60 for now. Release date, we'll just say today. I'm not too fussed about that. So we have this now new way of adding categories. So it's still showing. If I just close off this, Let's go ahead and refresh our categories. I think I didn't even delete the categories. Maybe I did. But we need new categories. This should be fine. So I'm probably going to have to do this again. So it's at the top there. So Power Apps Step Up Challenge. And we'll call this I can't type today. Where my 6 key keeps double pressing. So find categories. So there's got no categories in there now, which is fine. We're going to go ahead and add a new category. And again, the way that this is done is a little bit clunky, but we can usually solve a lot of this stuff with UI. But essentially, you adding a category here is going to place it into this categories list, because for some reason it's becoming impossible to add a category to your list that's not already in your list from Power Apps. So if anyone could shed some light on how to do that, I would be over the moon about that one. So yeah, I'm going to add a new category, and we'll see that now has appeared in our categories list. We'll see that here as well if we give this a refresh. We've got our Power Apps category, which is perfect. So I can now go select that from the list. Now, I just realized there's something else that I'd like to do. I think if you're adding a new category in this course menu, when you're creating a new course, I think you'd automatically want to populate it with that category, just to avoid that mistake. I mean, it's a required field anyway. So again, I'm going to make a note of this one because I think this would be quite nice to be able to say, for example, if I put in Power BI in here, I want my category to auto-populate with Power BI because I wouldn't be creating that category for any other reason at this point of creating a new course. So yeah, let's make a note of that one, and we can look at that as well. So auto-populate category when adding new category. I'm just going to make it out. That's the adding course, creating a course page. So yeah, that'll be the next kind of experience that we have. So now I've set this up in a way that now this should create the course, and it takes me to a new lesson. So I was speaking to John about earlier, and I decided to wait until the live stream to do this part, because this is something again that, to help with the user experience. What I wanted to do was then populate the course with the course that you've just registered basically with your table. So what happens is we're going from create a new course. We create the course, and then it's basically taking us straight to the create a new lesson, because that's the next natural step that you would want to do when creating a course. So let's look at auto-populating that as well. So I'm going to, again, just write another note here on the side. So we'll do auto-populate course from previous screen. This is in the create new lesson. Creating lesson screen, just so you guys see what I'm doing. I'm literally just writing in Notepad. Probably not the best way to keep track of changes and things you want to do, but I just want to kind of blitz through this as quickly as I can. Hi Sydney, welcome, and hi Wayne, welcome. The stream started half an hour earlier today, so hopefully you've not missed out on too much. Yeah, just noticed John saying in the YouTube chat that using Dataverse tables sounds really simple, but there are some different techniques to learn about there versus SharePoint lists. Yeah, that's I had a bit of this as an experience obviously yesterday, just for those joining now. I basically migrated what we built last week. I mean, obviously the idea was originally to build a Netflix app, which ended up turning into a bit of an LMS, and now I've kind of gone wild with the solution. but yeah, we had a few discussions with the team here at Collab 365, and we decided that best kind of route to go down would be Dataverse for this one. So I spent most of yesterday moving my SharePoint lists into Dataverse, refactoring things, finding and replacing Power Apps, and then you realize that some things are slightly different in the way and the mechanics that they work behind the scenes, which means that there's some things that need changing in your formulas. It became a bit of a logistical nightmare, which Mark warned me of this initially and said that it's going to be more of a nightmare than you think, and it was. So yeah, I think the real kind of takeaway from that is figure out where your data needs to be to begin with. I mean, obviously the use case for me was a bit different. I didn't know what I was building until I started kind of getting into it. But yeah, really think about where your data needs to be and the structure of your data before you really start building, I think is the biggest takeaway for me. So yeah, that's gonna be. So we're gonna have a look at that last or the first two things. I think the populate and the category into these fields. I think that's gonna be the easiest protocol to start with before we start adding lessons. So yeah, I'm gonna come back out of this and let's have a look at what we can do. So I'm gonna head back to the create course screen. I can remember where that is. There we go. So we've got the create course screen. Just gonna minimize all of this sort of stuff. Otherwise you end up just getting lost in lists of controls, which again I haven't named, which bad practice, but it's fine. So yeah, I'm over here inside of this. Can I zoom into this a little bit? So what do we want to do? So I'm gonna say that when we add the new category, I'm just trying to think how we would pull this data, because at the point of trying to pull this into the category, whatever you type in here doesn't actually exist in the list until we add it to the category, to the categories list. So I think the default for this, so if we go to default selected items, let's just comment that out at the moment because we may just continue using it. Yeah, // to comment. Let's think about what we can do. So for my default selected items, I'm going to first try and see if we can use the new category label. So this is the box which I named in here. I don't think this is going to work. Yeah, that's not going to work, is it? So we can do a lookup. So difference between lookup and a filter is lookup returns one result, a filter will return many. So we can do a lookup here where we can say that we want the LMS course categories. And I think we can actually just do this based on when it was created, because rather than actually querying against what you physically type, because if you're creating a new category for this specific course, that's going to be the category that you want to use. And at the time of creating it, unless somebody is creating a course at the exact same time as you, I don't think that would be an issue. So we could literally just say that we're going to look up the course categories for LMS, and we're going to say that the created, is it create? I think again, Dataverse is different to what I'm used to. So it would be the created on. And how do we say the latest one? I think I might be going down the wrong case for this. So we want to find the latest. So the created on, we could say equal to today, but again, if there's multiple courses created in a day, that'll be an issue. We could sort by columns first, I think. Yeah, so what? Let's have a look at this again. So I'm just going to remove this, and we're going to do sort by columns. We're going to grab our categories, and the column we're going to use is again, we're using this very strange way that Dataverse seems to work, which I believe is the created on. But I'm just checking to see if we've not had anything else. So yeah, we're going to go created on, and we're going to sort by sort order. Is it descending or ascending? Dates confuse me. Numbers, it's really easy to figure out. You can just say, right, if something's 10, you put it at the top of the list, put 1 at the bottom, or if 1 at the top and 10 at the bottom, it's really easy to do that. But dates confuse me for some reason, and I don't know why. Do we need this to be sort order ascending or sort order descending if we want to return the latest result? If we want the latest to be at the top. The moment we say someone will be setting up lessons, people will need to have progress for themselves, and also there will be higher level roles. I think it's going to be descending. I think we're going to go descending on this one. In fact, an easy way to test this would just be to add a new category, and then we can see. So power, just going to call this AAA for now. Okay, so it does grab the latest category in there, which is fine. Let's go test this with Power BI. That adds it to the list too. So if I refresh this, I think that's all we need then. We don't even need to do a lookup. Or do we? That's really strange how that is... How that's working, because I would imagine that it would allow you to select multiple results. I mean, if that works, we can run with it, but I was expecting there to be some form of lookup there that was wrapped inside of this sort by columns. I think what we will do is just to be sure, we're just going to say first in here as well. So it's only going to choose the first one. And I think that just protects us against an issue. Right, okay, so let's go ahead and we can remove these categories, and we'll run through the process once more. So put our tables, we'll delete our course, and we'll recreate it. In fact, before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and try and set this up for the next screen too. So if I go to the screen create lesson, and then we've changed the default selected items in here. And again, this is going to be the latest one that you've created. So let's go ahead and change this to be, again, sort by columns. We're going to be looking for our courses this time. And we're going to select the created on. And we're going to, again, say sort order descending. And then that should, again, we'll wrap this in a first, because we don't want this, we don't want our lessons being applied to multiple places. So now when I create a course, this should automatically populate. We could also automatically do the order, but again, we'll worry about that afterwards. So let's just look at the list of things we've got here. So we've got the auto-populating done. We can calculate the course duration, and I'm interested to see. In fact, we can come back to that, because that's going to be part of the view-only format that you'll need to do for that one. So we will come back to that one afterwards. So what we'll do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to delete our course. We don't need it. We're going to recreate it and just double check that the experience is doing what we want it to do. So again, I'm just going to go refresh this data. Probably an easier way of doing that. But yeah. So we're going to come to the home page. We're going to test our app. Not sure what's going on there. That's strange. So we're going to go ahead, add a new course. We'll add a picture. And we'll say Power Apps Step Up Challenge. I know this is tedious to watch, but it's a really important step to make sure that everything's working, testing your app constantly. This is the Step Up Challenge. That'll do. We can refine this later. We'll give it a number here. And we don't have any categories, so now if I type Power Apps, we can add a new category. That seems to have gone through. We can create the course. We've now got our Power Apps Step Up Challenge, which is fine. So we can just say that this is the first lesson to get you started. And again, I'm not happy with this order. I think that can be confusing for people. This is a summary. It's going to be 10 minutes in length. And then again, we added this thing yesterday, where basically you can set if it's video, it's going to give you a lesson video URL. And again, I just realized that's another thing we need to change. I'm just going to make a note before I come out of this. Is the lesson video indicate it points to stream. So it's the way this is going to be set up is we want this to be internal. So they'll be using Microsoft Stream for any video content that they have, which means the stream player that we use for the lessons won't show anything like Vimeo or YouTube, simply because one, Vimeo doesn't allow you to embed into Power Apps. YouTube does, but it's a little bit flaky. Whereas Stream, from what I've tested and seen, it works pretty seamlessly out of the box. Data times essentially means the earlier values, the later ones. Yeah, that's actually really helpful, Wayne. My process with this is with ordering things is trial and error. If the first one doesn't work, try the second one. But yeah, that works too. Okay, so we're just going to say this is going to be a text-based lesson for now, and lesson content. This, in fact, we're just going to go generate some lorem ipsum. For now, because I haven't really got the time to go ahead and so I'm just choking on my own air there. But yeah, I haven't really got time to go and start messing around with this, so we'll just copy and paste some of that in there. We've got our lesson now. We're going to leave order blank and see what happens. So yeah, one thing that we've just realized here is we've got no way to actually submit our lesson. So that's the next thing we're going to do. We're going to come out of this and we're going to select our form. So we've got this for the course, but not for the form. So we'll select the form. We'll go edit fields, and I like to wrap these inside the form just because my form is scrollable. It just makes it easier to see and make sure that people are actually filling out the content before being able to submit. They'll naturally, if they can't see a submit button because it wraps underneath the form or underneath the viewable area in the in your screen, then they're naturally going to scroll and look for it. Whereas if you have it outside of a custom data card in a form, like a submit button, then it'll sit basically over the top of the app, meaning that people would potentially be able to submit a form without filling out all of the fields. So yeah, if it's a really small form, then yes, I would keep it outside of using a data card. And if it's wrapped in a big form, then I would put it inside, just to make the experience a little easier for people using it. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and add a data card, which we've done. Where is that data card? It's at the bottom here. what I'm going to do is I will just scroll down. We'll again make this nice and big. Grab a button. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the button that we have from the other place. So the course, we're going to grab this button here. We're going to Control C. So my mic sits in front of my keyboard, so I can often press the wrong keys. Where are we? So let's go back to Form 2. Again, adequately named. And then we're going to change, first of all, the button to say create lesson. So that's what we're doing here. And we are going to submit now Form 2. And we'll reset Form 2. And then we're going to... We don't need to navigate anywhere. I mean, we could navigate to... Is that something we could do? Yeah, we could navigate to a success screen, potentially. So what I'm going to do is, for now, I'm going to remove this formula. And I'm going to show you a little tip, which I've started doing, especially seeing as this is one of the bigger projects that I've done, is you can comment. I don't know if anyone's heard of pseudocode, but essentially you can basically write notes as to what you are going to do or expected to do at a certain point in your app. Now, I'm not ready to implement this right now, so I'm not ready to create a screen that is my form success screen to say, "Wait, you've you've successfully submitted a new lesson to your course," type of thing. That's something that I want to do in the future. So we can use what's called pseudocode, and I usually wrap this in a comment, and then I initial it with something. So I'll initial it with my initials, and then what that means is if I then do a find and replace or a find, no matter where I am in my app, I can come to find and replace or find, and I can do a search for /CD. And this just means that it's something where it requires me personally to do to perform some sort of formula that I haven't yet done yet. So it's easy to come back and find stuff. So I'm going to say what I want to do here is I'm going to navigate to a success screen. And I'm just going to actually put decide if as well. So it just gives me a bit of a note as to if that's something that I want to add here, because it's going to be part of the unselect of this button. So I know that's where I'm going to add the formula if I do it. But like I say, I'm not ready to do it now. I'm busy doing other things, which again, I don't. The last thing you want to do in an app when building an app is context shift too much. Otherwise, you end up with loads of kind of incomplete parts of your app, which I found myself doing a little bit with this. But again, it's because I hadn't really done much planning beforehand. But yeah, again, that just means that if I'm anywhere else, for example here, I can do, for example, /CD. We can see that we've got a formula here that I can just jump straight to and go, right, okay, I needed to decide if I needed to create a forms of success screen or not. So yes, we're going to leave that there for now. So now what will happen is when I press play, let's check if we've got all the stuff in here. If I press create lesson now, that's done exactly what we want it to do. It's reset the form. It's submitted the form. It's kept our course here, meaning we can add another lesson straight away. So let's just go check that data's gone into our lesson. So we'll go back to our tables in Dataverse. We'll go to our LMS lesson. And we can see here, again, I need to mess around with the view a little bit. It's no lesson videos. This was a text-based lesson. We've got lesson content, lesson course, the description of the lesson, which is something different to the actual content itself. The description is basically a little bit of a blurb that we can show without actually taking somebody to the lesson at some point. That was the idea behind that. And we've got lesson length. So yeah, we can worry about ordering afterwards. In fact, we'll add this to our notes of things that we don't know where we're going to put them yet, which is why I put them in Notepad. So we've got a lesson video. We also need to configure automatic ordering. Maybe that could be something I look at, because I don't like the way that they have to manually say which lesson. And we can have like an incrementing number that starts at 1 and then goes up every time you submit a lesson. That could be a variable that we use to do that. But then that number would just continue going up no matter what course it's assigned to. So, I mean, that wouldn't be an issue, because you'd essentially just be carrying on, right? The issue becomes if you want to rearrange things later or add things in between, which again, that's a whole different kettle of frogs that we can get to when we get to that. So we can see the lesson's gone in. That's fine. We're just going to go ahead and just add a second lesson. So this is a secondary lesson for our course. Summary. Leave that in there. We'll leave this as text again. In fact, we can just go ahead and say video. And I'm interested to see what happens if I just put hello, because I've basically configured this lesson video to be URL, and I'm not sure if that's the right type of field this needs to be, or if it will still be recognized by a single line of text. But if it's a URL, I'm not sure if it's just going to append the hello that we just added after these double slashes here, or if it's going to just literally just type in hello. So I'm not sure what that's going to do, so we can find out there. This is a test video content. And that way I'll know what format to provide automatically inside of this field when users actually come to create lessons. So we'll create another lesson. And that's gone over. Let's go ahead and refresh our data, see what's happened. Okay, so that's a bit strange. We've got hello, which is pointing to something. So it's registered that as a hyperlink, which is strange. And I'm not really sure. I can see that we've got at the end of our HTTP thing here, we've got /hello. So I'm really not sure what that's done. So what we'll try and do, I'm just going to go ahead and add some other form of let's type in another lesson. I'm going to set video here again. I just want to see what happens if I put in an actual HTTP URL that's clickable and see what happens. So we'll go ahead, we'll refresh. Okay, so that does work. So let's now try it without the HTTPS, because I want to see if that does the same thing. So yet another lesson. We're going to make some video. I'm just going to remove the first bit, because a lot of people do just put in things like google.com, like they don't type in obviously the rest of it. So we'll try that as well, and we'll see what happens with this one. Okay, so it does need the HTTPS at the beginning, or it just gets confused and doesn't know what to do with it. I wonder if there's anything that we can, or any behavior that we can change. I mean, we could do this probably directly in the Power App. So let's have a look what options we have. Let's make the video become available. Just quickly on that one as well. So basically what I did here is under the visible property of this, I basically just said if the lesson type data card 1, which is this lesson type, the update part of that, so whichever somebody selects equals video, then it makes it true. If not, it's false. And that's how I basically just made that appear and disappear because you want to obviously have that column available to somebody if it is a text-based lesson. And eventually, when we get to it, when we get to the lesson side of things, what we'll do is we'll have two different screens for two different types of lesson templates. So we'll have one that has a nice video section and all of that, which I've already created, and then we'll have a text-based one as well. So we're coming up to the hour. I'm going to be continuing this for probably the next 2 hours. I'm going to take a short. We'll go for a 10-minute break if that's okay with you guys. If you guys are happy to take 10 minutes, if you want shorter, we can go for 5. And we'll be right back. I think that's probably going to be what happens now. Yeah, I'll take a short break. Hopefully you guys can stick around with me and we'll continue building this out. Just before we do go on a break, I mean, how many of you have experienced Dataverse? Because I mean, this is all absolutely new to me. I spent probably a couple of hours yesterday digging around inside of Dataverse, trying to figure out how the whole kind of system works and fits together. And there's still a lot that I need to learn. But yeah, I'm just kind of curious whether using Dataverse and these tables that are found inside the Power Platform are kind of the areas that you guys want to dive into. Because I mean, I did start this off obviously last Friday with Microsoft List. And I mean, up to now, I can't think of any reason why Microsoft List wouldn't work. But like John's mentioned, row level security and all that sort of stuff, especially dealing with relational data lookups and all that sort of stuff, it's a lot more easier to manage in Dataverse. But that's not to say that it can't be done in Microsoft List. But yeah, I'm going to take a short 5-minute break, I think, and we'll be right back. Okay. So yeah, let's continue where we were at then, and see if we can carry on getting this set up. So let's switch back to my screen. There we go. Okay, so we've now got a way to use lessons. So we've got courses set up, we've got lessons set up, which means if I now go back to my home page, we'll now see that our Power Up Step Up Challenge has been added here. And I think what I'm going to do, in fact, now I'm actually at this home page, is I'm going to put a condition in place for this hero image here, which is going to be the top. And there's a setting that I've added to our, let's have a look, our course. Oh, that's the wrong one. To our courses. If you look across here, we've got this course featured. It's currently set to no. That's the default setting. But what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to set this to be the latest one if no featured course has been set. So that just means it's going to just account for that situation where no one has set this as a featured course yet, and we still have something to show here. So I'm going to go ahead and excuse me, return to my screen home, where I'll then go to my featured course gallery, and we're going to say that what we're doing here. So we've written this by if the course featured equals true. So yeah, we'll say I'm just going to comment this out for now, because I'm going to comment this back in afterwards. I'm going to say if let's say trying to think how we'll do this. So if sort by columns, in fact, we could just make this the default featured, right? No, I think I'm kind of right in what I was doing actually. So we'll say that we need to filter, and we'll grab our courses. And I think we can just say that the course just trying to find it. Course featured is what we're after. So it's a course featured. I think we actually need to say blank as well. So if I think we can do is blank, or sorry, it's empty. I think we can do that. I'm not sure if this will work. Then we can do a true value, and the true value will be the latest course. Actually, no, because we're going to want to be able to publish this afterwards, because you wouldn't want this to be visible until you've completed all the lessons. So no, I think we're going to keep with what we've got, and then we'll add somewhere later to do that. So what I'll do is I'm just going to enable this as the course featured for now, and come back to power ups. just refresh our data. So at least that way that is populated. We only want to show the date rather than the time here as well on this. So I think what we'll do is, I think we can do date. Is that not the right expected 3? Okay, so it's not date. Is it date format? I think it might be format date time. Yes, it's not date time. There is one that we can use in a date time format. That sounds about right. I'm not sure why it removes this item. So say date time format. I'm just going to bring that down and comment that at second. Now, why is it not showing me any? Let's go ahead and have a look at this. So we're going to do Power Apps reference guide. That's not the right one. This is the right one. Let's have a look at date time format on here. So it's datetime value. So syntax for this, so date value. Oh, okay, I think I know what we need to do. So we can just leave that as it is, as that is the text, and I think we should be able to do, let's have a look what format options we've got. Which I don't think, because it's not reading this as a date. Let's have a look at, so we could say convert a date from a string in these as a long date. Okay. So we'll say text and then date value. Too many tabs open. So we'll say text, and then it's a date value that we want to put here. This item. So that's the date text. Language code. And let's see what it's asking us to put in here. So date time format. Ah, okay. So we should be able to just do. I don't think we need that. We should just be able to say date time format and then short date. There you go. And then that removes the random midnight time that we have at the end. Okay, we can see that's gone into the Power Apps category, which again, I need to refine this at a later date. Okay, so we now got a way for somebody to add a course, add lessons. Now let's check that this is all appearing as it should. We've got our lessons in here, which is nice. Again, we can do the same thing to this text in here. So we'll say text, and we'll do date time format, and then dot short date. Okay, so now if I click into the lesson. So yeah, I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add the second lesson screen. So there's going to be a lesson video screen, which is this one, where they'll be able to view the video. And then we'll have a lesson text screen as well, which will be obviously content without the video inside. So I think, yeah, the easiest way to do this is going to be create a new screen. So we've got our lesson. I'm going to rename this to lesson video. Not sure why that's zoomed in. And then I'm going to duplicate the screen, and we're going to do a rename of this. And this is going to be lesson text. And then based on some form of queries, we can do 2 different versions of our lesson page. So we can remove that stuff, as that's not going to be part of the lesson. And let's first just set it up so our lessons go to the right screen. So we're going to select the actual gallery itself, and then on select, what have we got? Yeah, I patched that out because I wasn't using that at the moment. We can, I'm just going to bring that down to the bottom because again, I'm still not using that. So we're going to navigate. So we're going to set the variable, and then we need to do a condition here. So we're going to say, so if, what I'll do is I'm just going to bring that up and we'll do it underneath. We'll say that if the, let's have a look. It would have already set the variable at this point, so we can just say if var selected lesson dot, and then we want to grab the lesson type is equal to video. I think this is gonna work. Then what we'll do is we will navigate to the screen lesson video, and if it's not, then we're going to navigate, not sure what's going on there, navigate to the screen lesson text. Okay, I'm not sure what we've got going on here, why we've got this weird commented section here. So I'm just going to get rid of that. We've got a bit of a weird formatting thing going on here. And we'll see if that works. So, okay, we don't have any functionality there for some reason now. So what have we messed up? Okay, that's randomly just updated itself. Let's see if that's fixed it. Okay, so we've got a text lesson. I need a way of actually going back as well. One of these is a video, I know that, but I can't remember which one. So we will go back to our lessons. Let's go find out which one's the video quickly. I'm not sure why this is. Okay, so another lesson is should be a video. What I'm going to do, I think, because the control is inactive, because the links obviously don't work, I just need to just create a label on that screen, just so I can differentiate between the two. So I will just add a text label here. We'll put this over in the corner here. And we'll just say video lesson for now. And that way we'll know that if we select on the right one, so this, we don't get it. I really need to make a way of coming back. However, if we select. So we're basically not getting either or of these, which means that there's something wrong with our formula. Which I'm guessing. Can we do in? Does that work? Let's try it. Okay, so we get a video lesson now. It's again a really strange thing with Dataverse, which I'm not sure why that happens. So that's the lesson video too. I've already forgotten which one. I should have just renamed them, shouldn't I? Okay, so now it's just taken us to video lesson. Okay, 3 of them are videos, that's why. Which means the third one. Okay, so that's working now as we want it to. So yeah, we're able to now say that whether it's a text or video lesson, we can go to different screens depending on that, but it's still going to carry across all that data with it as well, which is what we want. So let's have a look now at configuring those screens a little better. So yeah, when I designed this, I had this in mind with the fact that people won't be able to navigate between the lessons, which I still want them to actually be able to do. I think it's much more efficient than being able to go through an entire course in a linear order, especially if you want to revisit things. So I'm just going to remove that black rectangle in the background. I'm going to shift our video to the right here. I'm also going to do the same with the text. And we will shift this over as well, which means that we can now hopefully just be able to copy this gallery from our course over to our lesson video, and we can reshape this however we like. And we can have this kind of going down the entire page. I think it'd be nice to have the name of the course up in the top left here. So what I will do is I'm just going to grab our lesson name, copy and paste that. I'm going to bring this up to the top, squeeze this in somewhere here. We can remove the padding that we added. Just leave that as 5. In fact, we'll go 10 on the padding, go 20. 20 looks reasonable. We can change the size to something like 18. That's probably too small. I mean, the boldness makes it stand out a little. We'll grab from the top as well. We'll add 20 to the top, just so we've got a bit of padding around that. And then we can change this to be var selected course, because this is how they're going to be able to get into here. And then we'll say course name. And that's coming from, we go back, when we select on one of these courses, that's automatically selecting that as the var selected course. So if you see the on select of the gallery, we're setting a variable var selected course, and it is this item. So it's the only way that they can get in. So wherever they get into these, and that's where the course is being set from. Meaning now, when we go to our video lesson, that is a text lesson, not a video lesson. Go to a video lesson. It's going to carry that information across there. So let's have a look. What else do we need? We can make that a little bit smaller. I mean, we could make this responsive. I'm not too worried about that for now. So yeah, there we go. We've got our lessons in, and we should probably do the same thing for the other page too. So we'll do the lesson text page, and again, I'm just going to shift this over to the left. Not fussed about positioning at the moment, and we'll go ahead and grab this here as well. Not sure why that's doing some weird dodgy alignment. There you go. And because this is a text lesson, we can kind of just bring this up a little bit as well. So I do want to add space for a kind of progress bar at some point as well. So we can make the content fit into here. And again, we can actually uncomment this out now, and we can just say var selected lesson dot description dot lesson description. This is assuming that we do have text in here. Let's just quickly go and edit this one. So lesson description, let's just make sure that's available. So it should say this is a summary, but we have set this to rich text. So we might have to change that to plain text. We will just add that in here. Not sure why that didn't go in. Yeah, I'm really not sure why that one's not going in as we want it to. It may just be a formatting issue. Let's have a look what we have. So we've got rich, so it is rich text. We can just go normal text for now. Let's save that and see if that is the issue. Again, we're just trying to get to the minimum point of how this looks. We can always implement rich text if we want to at a later date. I'm just going to go refresh my lesson. So let's see. Okay, so yeah, that's working now. Let's test this on here. Got a bit of a weird glitch going on with the gallery, where the highlighted section isn't actually moving, but yes, we can work on how that looks later. I can remove this video lesson now. We know that works. And what I'm also going to do is I'm going to change the background color here just to a darker tint, just to indicate that that is a I think that's too dark. Just to indicate that that is a different section. We can go just like nice light blue, I think kind of works. Yeah, I think the light blue fits nice in there. Again, we can worry about how that looks later, and I'll just do the same for the lesson text version as well. Just to make that stand out on the left hand side. Again, it looks a bit terrible. But I think once I've worked on a bit of the formatting of these galleries, it should look alright. So There you go. So our lessons are working as planned. We've got our courses as planned. Um, I think let's. I mean, what I'm gonna ask you guys what you think we should do next. So there's four of you in here, and I'm gonna give you a few options as to where I go next. So we've got the courses in, we've got lessons. We can create those. Um, would you guys rather spend some time doing some UI stuff on these lessons to basically make the lessons and the gallery and everything look a little nicer? Or should we start looking at being able to add user progress to these lessons? So we're basically looking at what options we've got to basically allow individual users to have progress against lessons. Is that something that you want to do now, or we can do that tomorrow in tomorrow's live, or would you rather spend some time doing some UI stuff? I mean, we've got about an hour, just over an hour left on this session, so I kind of it's up to you where you want me to go with this, but there's so many things that need doing, so I think I'll leave it up to you guys to decide. Go with the first response. I can see Wayne's typing. Tomorrow shouldn't be cancelled. I'm just gonna check. You got me worried now. No, tomorrow's is still on. Yep, tomorrow's is still on. It'll be 2:30 start tomorrow. But we can spend 3 hours on it if you want me to start a little bit earlier. So yeah, we can do user progress then. I say we can do user progress. That's quite a bold statement. I'd like to be able to do it. Let's see what we can do with this. So I created a table to kind of start recording some of this stuff. And this is the what I've called LMS user progress. And I don't have any columns in here at the moment. But I had this idea, and this is where that patch that you saw that was commented out was sort of in place inside of Microsoft Lists, and it took me a while, but I sort of got something to work. So I think what I want to do with the user progress is obviously, in fact, we're gonna use Word to do this. Let's go ahead and just drag that to the side. There we go. Let's think about what we actually need to record for user progress. Yeah, next Friday's cancelled. So yeah, I'm away after this Friday for a week. I've not had a week off at all this year. Had a day here and there. So I'm off for a week, so I won't obviously be able to do any streams, unfortunately. But I will be getting back to it when I am back. But yeah, so just going back to this, so user progress. Let's think about what we need to record. So we need to record when a user enrolls on a course, right? So user enrolls on course. What else? We need to say when they start a lesson. What is going on with my keyboard today? So you say when they start a lesson, when they complete a lesson. What other things do we need to record for a user? So they enroll on a course, we record that. We now know that that person has started the course. When they start a lesson, I'd like to know, because one thing that we often find here at Cloud 365 is we can see roughly where people are getting stuck. And that's due to the fact that they've started a lesson but not completed it. And we can say that a user has started a lesson by creating a record when they click on the item in the gallery that takes them to that lesson page. They don't necessarily have to physically do anything else. We can say that they've gone to that lesson and they've started it. So that's one way of doing it. We need to say when they've completed the lesson. We can have a yes or no field against that. I'm trying to think, what else do we need? This probably could be simpler than I think. I'd like to record their... Or do I? Do we need to record how much time spent on a module? So yeah, that could be a good one. That seems very like it's going to be a bit of a complex thing. So the issue that you have with power apps, I mean, it's possible, but you have this really strange thing with timers that happen on power apps, where, for example, let's say Sylvia starts lesson 1 today, and we can record that she started that at a certain time. If we was to use a timer on the screen, actually in the Power App, if you was to turn off the app or come away from the app and revisit that lesson 1 tomorrow to finish it, the timer has no kind of recollection of how long it's been running for at that point. You've closed the app. But you've just given me a thought. We could do this using a date difference. So we could record the start time and record the end time. So yeah, I'm just going to come down a little bit and say columns, just so I can see what columns we're going to be using here. So yeah, we're going to say, so we'll say course start time. We'll actually say course enrollment time. Is enrollment 1L or 2? 1. Just felt that I looked wrong. The course enrollment time. We'll obviously need a course completion time. We'll need lesson start times. Lesson end times. I mean, I don't think we need to record the actual time itself. I think the date should be fine. I'm just trying to think. I mean, are you really... If you're wanting to do reporting on this, are you going to want to see the actual time that he started and finished? Like, is that something that you would want to see? I'm not sure. I mean, again, I don't think it'd be too much of an issue to do that. So yeah, we could do notifications. We could do notifications using Power Automate. And we can, at the moment, I want to try and stick to Power Apps and keep everything in Power Apps. I think Power Automate to be able to send email notifications and Power Apps notifications is the way to go. It's just so simple in there, so we could maybe look at doing that as a thing towards the end, setting up reminders and that sort of thing. I mean, we could have an entirely new table for notifications to be sent out to people, which Power Automate could read from. So again, this is really expansible on what we can do. Okay, so we've got lesson start time, lesson end time. We're gonna need a yes or no as well for course completed and lesson completed. Now, I'm not sure if this is all going to go in the same table. I don't know if, well, in fact, this would work. We could use lessons and courses as lookups. So that way we could keep all the information within one row. So for example, let's say Wayne Wallace decides to start lesson or enroll in lesson in course number 1. And what we would do there is we would say, okay, he's registered for course number 1. So we're going to create a new record for Wayne Wallace, saying that his course enrollment time is X. He then goes and starts the actual lesson itself. So then what we would have is a lesson, another row within our table that says that Wayne Wallace has now a lesson start time for the X specific lesson, and then we could use that entire table to query against and filter and sort I think would be the easiest way of doing it, and I'm not sure how complex that would get on large data sets. For example, if you have thousands of employees that are taking courses, each employee might have over 100 rows of data for different lessons that they've completed. Um, yeah, it might be something that we end up changing afterwards if it doesn't work. But yeah, just realised the first thing we're going to need, obviously, after this for this course enrollment, is actually the user itself. So we're going to need the user who's actually who this record is marked against. And I'm just going to quickly check on something else that we've got here. Let's go back to our lists. So yeah, I think that is what we're gonna need. So I'm just gonna drag that onto my other screen for now, and let's maximize this. Thinking for courses that have a time limit. Yeah, I mean, if something is relatively short, for example, you've got 5 minutes to complete a lesson. I mean, I think what you're aiming at there is more towards the kind of quiz side of things that you usually get at the end of courses. So you kind of got all the time you need to revise. Maybe we give them an hour to revise, and then we send them into a quiz. But we're not worried about quizzes too much on this at the moment. But yes, we can add a timer for short timed things. That could be something. In fact, I'm going to add it to my notepad of things to potentially look at. So, time limited courses. So yeah, let's have a look at creating some new data in here. So first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to ignore the name for now. I mean, this could be something that we do. What do we have in here? So format. We could use email. In fact, we can't actually change this. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cancel that for now. I'm going to see if we can bring out some users in here. So we can say lookup, and we've got customers, which isn't wrong on. That's more CRM, dynamic sort of stuff. Choices. Can we pick from a choice of users? Might come into Active Directory maybe. See, I've never done this in Dataverse. I know obviously in SharePoint we have users and group columns. So let's have a look at lookup and we'll see if we can. Aha, Active Directory user. Is there any other users? Is that like a best practice for users in Dataverse? Sort of U. What do we have down here? So we do have just user. So I'm interested to see if we can do anything with this. So I'm just going to create the first one called user. And see what happens. It seems to be taking its time. Just close down all stuff while we're not using it. Okay, so we have a user which doesn't seem to do what we want it to. So it might be Active Directory that we need. And I don't think we can change that afterwards. So we will have to go ahead and delete that column and we'll try and add a Active Directory. That's probably where we're going to find our users. So I think that was more in the user groups type of thing. The only thing I have found with working with Dataverse is that it gets a little bit more time consuming to create things. So we'll go lookup again. We'll say related table. We'll say our active directory user. We'll say user again. And we'll see if this gives us what we want. Let's have a look. Dataverse. User column. See what they suggest on here. See what we get under user. It's taking its time to search. Okay, so they're actually using the lookup to the table users. Seem that doesn't seem that this wants to really behave. Right, we'll come back to that. We'll add our other columns. So we've got our course enrollment time, and this is obviously going to be a date and time. And we will add date and time there. Okay, Dataverse is being very, very slow. We'll add another one, add our date and time. This is going to be our course completion time. We'll add our lesson start time. Our lesson end time. We can add a yes or no field, and this is going to be course completed. Default's going to be no. And we'll do lesson completed. And again, this is going to be yes or no. The default will be no. And then we also need a lookup to the courses and lessons. So we'll add a lookup here. So we'll do format, so data type will be a lookup. And this is going to be the lesson itself. So what table are we looking at here? We are looking at the LMS lessons. I think that's what we need. We're just going to go with that for now. And we also need a lookup for our course. Under LMS courses. So before we start implementing this kind of anywhere in our app that's going to allow us to do this, first of all, I'm going to create a button and we can figure out what the actual patch formulas are going to be for this. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to refresh our user progress list that we've got in here. And I'm just going to come down to, I'm just going to add a new screen, sorry. Where I'm just going to insert a button for now. It's a nice big button because I want to figure out what the patch formula is going to be for this because I've not really worked with patches inside of Dataverse. So we're going to say that we, first of all, want to be able to patch to our LMS user progress. And the record that we're going to patch, so I'm going to put inside of curly brackets. First of all, I am going to see if we can figure out what the user business is all about. So where is the user? That'll be here. So I wonder if, let's see, can we just do user? Okay, so there's something wrong here. Okay, so expecting a record value but of a different schema. The formula is missing a column, AAD user ID. See, I think what we're going to do is we're going to figure out what this user column actually is because for some reason we're not getting any users in here. We might be using something completely wrong. That's the other option. So let's go to our tables and let's look for our AAD user and just see what information is in here. Okay, so it's definitely not that. That's not what we're looking for. Do we have anything under account? Okay, it's not under account. What other things could it be? Email? Doesn't look like anything there. So we've got the system user. So maybe we have to create a... Yeah, I think that we're going to create a new table for users. I think that's going to be the option. And then what that also gives us is instead of us just basically having a single line of text, I'll show you what I'm going to explain here. So, for example, if I come into this list that we've created, instead of having, for example, a single line of text that has somebody's name or their email address, the issue with that is it's not real data. You're just basically using characters to specify something, and you can query against that. However, I was just thinking now, we could go again one step further with this, and we could give the user perhaps their own settings for the app, which means that we could create an entire new like user table, if you like. So we have a user progress, which is going to store all of their progress for everything that they click on and complete. And then there'll be another table. And in that, we can use a lookup to this other table, which will have the individual users. We can perhaps have things like, I don't know, whether they are admins or users or members of the app. We can predefine all that sort of stuff. So I think that, yeah, that's what we're going to do. So again, we're taking this to the next step. So we're going to create a new table, and I'm going to call this, keeping the prefix, we'll go LMS, and I'm going to call this users, or user, because we got the plural name as well. See what options we have here. LMS user. This is a standard type of table. Okay, I think that should be fine. We'll press save. does what I've just said make sense as to what I'm going to try and achieve here, or? But yeah, I'm going to go and edit the table, and inside of here, we are going to have the person's name, that's fine. We can also have the person's email. And again, we can say this is going to be a text. We can say email. And we can press save on that. And we can pre-create this when the user logs into the app as well. So we'll have their name and their email. What else can we do? We will grab, I think that's fine for now. We can always add to this when we start building out the type of role that they have within the app. So we'll keep LMS users for now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and add this to our data. So let's go ahead and grab our Dataverse tables. Where are we? L. Okay, that's Dataverse. I have a feeling I know why that's not worked. I think it's because I've created as a table and it's not part of the solution. So yes, that is why. So we can add our, can we add a table? Add existing table. Let's go ahead and grab the LMS user. And that should be fine. That's now part of our solution, meaning we can come into here and I'll do LMS. Not sure why that's not coming up. I'm just going to save this app for now and I'm going to refresh Power Apps. I always get nervous when it says that. So let's add our data, LMS users, there we are. We don't need lists anymore, I don't think. We can just have our LMS users. So let's first do a bit of fun stuff. So we're going to go to the app on start. We're setting some variables here. And what we're also going to do, and I think because this is going to get quite complex, I'm just going to make some notes. I don't need to say for the app. So finds or creates a user. So what we're going to do is when the app starts, we're going to basically find or create a user. So if a user exists, we're going to use that user, and we're going to store that as a variable. And if it doesn't exist, we're going to create a new one. So let's look at first creating a new one. So we know we can do this using patch. So we are going to patch the LMS users with the record. Let's have a look. What have we got? We should have a name. And we can say that we're just going to grab the user's full name. And we can also grab the email. And we're going to say that we're going to grab the user's email. And let's just check to make sure this this works. So if I go over to my LMS user, And let's go ahead and edit this. And then why have we got a issue here? Okay, because that is because we haven't put it in there. We put it in here. And what we're going to run on starts. It's going to run this as if the app is starting for the first time. So now we should have, which we do. So we've got our user created. So now we need to put in a bit of a condition that basically says if the user already exists, then you don't need to create a new user. We're going to set that user as the default user for the app. So let's think about how we can do that. So they'll start the app for the first time. And currently, we've got them creating a new user without the need to do anything. What are the things? How are we going to do this condition? So we know it's going to be an if. That's obvious. So for now, I'm just going to semicolon on the end of that, and I'm just going to say if. It's always a great start. So my mind's starting to go around in circles with this already. So we want to say, what is our logical test? We want to say that if we're going to do a lookup, and we're going to look up our users. It's going to again return one result. So yeah, we're going to say that if lookup users, and then we're going to use the name, I think it was, which is this one. Or we could use the email because that would be more unique. We could use both to be extra secure. But yeah, I think we'll use the email because that's at least that way people have their own unique emails. Match email. That's interesting. I'm not sure what that does. I've never seen that. But yeah, we'll say the email is equal to the current user's email. Then we will do something. So if it, I'm not sure how to say if it exists. So if it, so I'm just going to put true here and false because that's something that's going to happen there. I'm not sure what that is just yet. So something to do with our logical test here. So if are you working on when the user logs in? So yeah, this is when the user starts the app. I want them to automatically be identified as a user in our list. So we've got our user on our list. I basically want to say that if the user doesn't exist in the list, they're logging into the app for the first time, then I want to be able to create a new record in here. So yeah, that's kind of answered this part. So if the user's email, sorry, if blank, I think you can do if error. Then we can patch that in there, potentially. I'm feeling this will work, but we can try it. Okay. So what I'm then going to do is got our if error, the value, and then the fallback. I feel like I've messed up here. Okay, so value that is returned if it is not an error. Again, I feel like it's just an if we need. So the logical test becomes this, and there's something missing here. I think that's what we need, because we need to say that that's what's being returned from it. I feel like this is going to be wrong. So yeah, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab this. I'm just going to pop this here under a comment for now. And I'm just going to say notify text no user. And then I'm going to say user found. And this is just so I can kind of see what's really happening behind the scenes with this. So let's go ahead and run on start, which I don't think. It's saying user found, which is fine. Let's go ahead and delete that row now. And we'll run on start again and see what happens. So it's still saying user found, and is that because our data's not been updated? So we'll go ahead and... Okay, so it's still saying user found. So there's no query here to say that it is blank. So can we say if error? That becomes the value. Okay, let me see what happens here. So user found. That's not what we want. Yeah, I feel like we need an is blank. So if I'm going to remove that if error, and I'm going to say is empty. That's probably what we need. So if is empty, what are we missing? So it does tire me out trying to do complex formulas. So let's just get rid of this stuff. So if is empty. So what source are we looking to be? So we'll go for our LMS users. I'm going to rewrite this, I think. We can't enumerate into that. I'm trying to think. So I think we need to put a lookup here. So we'll say lookup. Then we'll grab our LMS users. And we will say that the email equals user.email. Okay, and we're frozen. And then the true value, I'm just going to say notify. We'll do a second notify as well, because I want to know what's happening. So if basically if this returns empty, I want it to say no user found, and then say user found if it does. So let's see. And again, I think we need to have .email part. Maybe not. Expecting a table. So, expecting a table when it's found a record. So maybe is empty is not the right thing. Can we say is blank? Checks whether the expression results in blank and returns true or false, whereas empty checks if a collection is empty. Okay, so I think we just need is blank. Now I wonder if this will work. It'd help if we had enough brackets run on start. So no user found. So let's go and just type in some data manually, making sure I don't make any spelling mistakes. I'm not sure if it's case sensitive, but I'll do it in the way that it liked me to before. And we will run on start. Refresh our data. Okay, so now we're getting user found. So that is doing what we want it to do. That is the right formula. So yeah, just to kind of, I might have brushed over that a little bit there. So just to say what this is doing. So we're basically saying that if our users table that we've just created, it's looking for an email address within our users table that matches our current logged in Power Apps user. And basically saying if it's blank, then it's going to say no user found. If there's something in it and it does have the same and it matches, and then it'll say user found. So what we can then do is we can replace these notifies, now we know that they work, with the correct formulas. So we know that this one up here, which I created before, is the one that's going to create us a new user. So I can actually just copy that, and if no user is found, I should be able to just paste that into here. I can remove that. And we can just leave user found for now, because eventually what I'll do is I will set that as a variable, and we can use that. So yes, let's just remove that completely for now, and then that way we only need a true value. You don't need an else value in these if statements. So we can leave that as it is. We can close off the formula of the correct amount of brackets, and now what we'll do is we will go ahead and delete that row of data. We'll refresh our users. And we are going to now run on start. So we shouldn't see anything happen when we do this, apart from a user being created within here. And now I should be able to run on start this again. We can do this a couple of times just to make sure that no funny business is happening. We shouldn't see any more rows of data in here. This should stay the same, which means that now we have a user. So we're able to check now to make sure that the user has logged in before, and if not, we create them a account, or we create them a record that they can use inside of here. So let's go back now to our other list, which was going to be our LMS user progress. And we'll go ahead and edit this. And then we now need to, if I can just make sure that we've not messed up along the way here. I'm not sure why some of this is been unticked. Very strange. Just re-enable those two. And we'll re-enable that as well, because I think I'm going to delete that one. There's a user. As I don't think we need that anymore. Yeah, so that was... Okay, we're actually getting users now, which is strange. But either way, we'll leave it as our custom one. No, I don't want to delete the data. I'm just going to hide that for now. So yeah, what we'll do is we're going to do a lookup column now. So we're going to add a... we'll say, yeah, we'll just call this users. User, I'm not sure if this is going to be an issue because a column already exists called user. I'm just going to call this people or person. It's a better version, isn't it? We'll call this person. This is going to be a lookup to our LMS user. Now we have that. And we can press save. And there we go. Let's check to see now that when we do in here, we can see that we've got our user, which came from the that other table that we've added. So yeah, that's that done nicely. I'm going to semicolon on the end just in case I decide to add any more here. So it finds or creates a user. That's fine. And then what I'm going to do is we can come back to our big button that we created, where we can start. Not sure what's going on here. We can start actually patching up as we were with this button. So just to recap, so we're patching to the user progress, and I just want to basically test to see that we can fill out all of those columns with the press of a button, which means if we can do it with the on select of any item, for example, a gallery item. So yes, the record we're going to patch. We're going to have a squiggly bracket, and let's have a look. So first of all, let's grab the user. I think is going to be, no, it's called the person. I've got to remember that one, not to make this mistake. I think I need to refresh my data for this one. Which means I should now be able to just type person. There we go. And we are going to say, now how do we find it? So I'm going to try just putting in something here just to see what happens. I kind of want to okay, so that's not going to show because it's going to have to be a record. So will this just allow me to do this? So it's a different schema, which means we may be able to do value or even ID. So let's have a think about this. Let's see how they're patching in Dataverse here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try. Let's try and figure this out. So the person needs to be a lookup to our users where the email, oh, that's not what we want, where the email equals, now I might have to set this as a variable, and I think that's where I was originally going with this. I'm going to see what happens when we press this. First, let's go back. Okay, we're on here already. New name is required. Okay, so it's using the actual name of the user progress. Where is that? That is the primary. So that's at the end here. Can I make another column, the primary column? Primary column, so I can't change the name of the primary column. Okay, so I think what I'll do is I will do the name and just pop in 1 for now. And the person can go in here. Okay, so it's the new name. I'm just trying to think about what is the issue that we've got here. Field new name is required. Okay, so let me just remove that and just pop in here and say cheers, Wayne. Catch you later. So yeah, I think what I'm going to do is, I mean, we've been on for 2.5 hours. We're going to continue this tomorrow because this really is the kind of final part of getting everything working, and then we can worry about UI when I'm back off holiday. But yeah, I really want to kind of get this progress stuff working. I think we're going to spend a fair amount of time tomorrow doing that. I mean, I'm going to probably go live probably way earlier than anticipated. So you can tune in at 2:30 tomorrow or the same time as you did today. But I'll probably be live in the Teams call earlier if you guys do want to drop by. So it will be the same link, same meeting link that you can use. I'll get that set up and ready. If you keep this chat open inside of Teams as well, you'll be able to see when I go live. But I'll go live a little earlier than expected tomorrow, hopefully, because I really want to kind of get the majority of this done before the end of play tomorrow. So, but yeah, thanks everybody for coming. Hopefully you've learned a few bits with me as I've kind of learnt them as well. It's getting quite complex this, but hopefully you're all following along. We've just now agreed, I think, for me to do a workshop on this entire project from start to finish, so you'll catch up on all the bits that you may have missed out on towards the end of July. So I kind of need to get this done fairly promptly to be able to deliver this as a workshop. Yes, again, thanks for coming, Sylvia. Thanks for coming, Sydney. Thanks for coming, William. And Wayne's already left, but thank you as well. But yeah, hopefully I'll see you all tomorrow. And if I don't, enjoy the rest of your weekend and your week next week. Take care, everyone. Bye bye.